John adored his Mustang, his most treasured item. It was a symbol of his hard work and his passion for cars, and no other vehicle could match it. Every weekend, John would take time to clean and polish it, a ritual that had become part of his life. As he washed the car one sunny Saturday, he was both content and proud, watching Lily play nearby, taking pleasure in his time with both his daughter and his car. John still remembers the fateful morning when his daughter's scream of "Daddy, look out!" snapped him into action, saving them both from a disaster. The memory is still vivid in his mind and lingers with him every day, a reminder of the importance of acting quickly. John was thrilled to take his Mustang out on a Saturday morning, eager to revel in its power and precision. He also had some good news from his job to celebrate, so his mood was especially high. He made a mental note to wash the car later to keep it looking new and shiny. John smiled, thankful for his recognition from his boss, but he just couldn't stop feeling like something was wrong. Unease tainted the morning, and he couldn't shake the feeling that his joy would soon be replaced by sorrow. He tried to stay positive, but the sense that something bad was about to happen lingered. Lily begged to come along on the drive with her dad. Her enthusiasm was clear. She was determined to convince him, despite his concerns for her safety. The car was in good working order, but he knew that he should go to great measures to keep his young daughter safe. Lily was determined to prove she was big enough to go on an adventure with her dad, and proudly presented her booster seat as evidence. John couldn't resist her joy, so he put her in the car and installed the seat securely. Sharing this special moment with his daughter would soon become a treasured memory for the father. Lily enjoyed the drive with her dad and the wind in her hair. She was disappointed when it ended, but John found a way for her to keep enjoying the outdoors, washing his Mustang in the front yard. Lily joyfully ran into the garden, ready for a day of fun with her dad. John was pleased to be able to spend time with her and look after his treasured vehicle. But their happy day took an unexpected turn, and their joy was soon replaced with disbelief. Unaware of the changes to come, their lives would soon be changed forever. Lily was full of joy that day as she chose her favorite scooter and rode it around the neighborhood. She laughed with delight as she gained confidence with each pass of her mailbox. It was a beautiful sight for her father to see her savor the freedom of outdoor playtime. John beamed at Lily as he got his bucket, soap, and sponge. He was proud to see her joyfully skipping down the street. He set about washing his car, admiring her as she played. He was delighted to be spending time with her, but soon their day was disrupted by a worrying event. The sudden change in atmosphere left John trying to grapple with what had just occurred. John kept a close eye on Lily as she rode her scooter, wanting her to enjoy her playtime while being safe. He washed his car, listening to her laughter in the background. This sound warmed his heart, reminding him of their special bond. His smile grew as he heard her chuckles and giggles, content that she was having a great time. John's attention soon faded from Lily's laughter as he became absorbed in car cleaning. He had momentarily lost track of her, but the realization of his oversight hit him hard. John was reminded of the importance of watching over his beloved daughter. John was completely absorbed in washing his Mustang, the car's body gleaming with soap and water. He felt proud of his work, his prized possession looking as good as new. His daughter Lily was playing in the background, but he hadn't looked away from the car until the situation soon changed and his attention was sharply drawn back to her. Lily's piercing scream filled the air, sending John into a state of alarm. He sensed his daughter was in danger, and as a protective father, he was ready to act. His gaze settled on Lily, pointing at something on the ground, her face full of fear. John knew he had to address the issue quickly and ensure his daughter's safety. Lily's urgent cry made John's heart jump. He couldn't see what she was pointing at due to the soapy water, making it hard to figure out her distress. He squinted, trying to make out something in the suds, but it was harder than expected. "Daddy, watch out behind you!" Lily's trembling voice warned John of a dire situation, and he needed to act quickly. "What? Where?" he asked, confused and anxious. He looked around, trying to identify the source of her fear, while trying to keep calm. Lily's terrified pleas for her father to watch out filled the air. Her urgent words made it clear something was wrong, and John felt a chill run through him. He had to stay brave and protect his daughter, facing the threat alone since no one else was around. He was determined to do whatever it took to keep Lily safe. John desperately jumped, desperate to spot what Lily pointed at. He wanted to stop the threatening situation, but couldn't see it. Too late, his foot slipped on the soapy water, causing him to fall and hit his head. Lily saw her beloved father, helpless and lying there, and acted quickly to help. Lily screamed at her dad to get up, her voice trembling with fear. She knew they had to act fast, but her father struggled to comprehend her desperate pleas. Her father tried his best to regain consciousness, but to no avail. Despite her heavy burden, she kept trying, determined not to give up. Lily was alone and scared, but determined to find strength to protect her dad. She took a deep breath, steeling herself to face the danger and not let fear hold her back. With her resolve unwavering, she was ready to take on whatever came. Lily was desperate to save her father, so she ran towards him and tugged at his arm. Her fear was pushed aside as her instincts drove her forward, determined to protect him. Despite her efforts, her dad was too heavy for her to move. If only her mom was home to help. Determined not to give in, Lily called louder and louder, hoping someone would hear. Her words echoed down the empty streets, a desperate plea for help. No response came, and she realized they were truly on their own. Still, she refused to give up and kept fighting for her father and herself. Lily was single-mindedly focused on saving her dad, ignoring the risks. She grasped his hands and pulled with all her might, and was delighted to see some movement. With a last burst of energy, she pulled him to safety. Exhausted, yet elated, Lily looked down at her father with a swell of emotion. Despite her youth and size, she had summoned immense love and courage to save him. Tears of joy filled her eyes, knowing her efforts had paid off, and she now felt ready to take on any future tests that may come. Lily's heart raced as she searched the room for the phone, determined to help her father. Despite trembling hands, she refused to give in to fear and eventually found the phone. She dialed for help, her voice unsteady, and waited for assistance to arrive in the hope her father would be okay. Lily felt a rush of relief when she found the phone and quickly dialed for help. Her trembling voice gave away her fear as she spoke to the operator, and after hanging up, she anxiously waited for the ambulance to arrive. Despite her worries, she held on to the hope that all would be well in the end. A wave of relief swept over Lily when her dad's phone rang as she entered the house. It was her mom, and Lily knew that this was her chance to get help. She quickly shouted for her mother to come home, her voice trembling with fear and anxiety. Lily explained the urgency of the situation, her words tumbling out in a rush. Her mother promised to come home quickly, and with that, Lily felt hope and relief that help was on the way. Lily held her father's hand tight, trying to stay brave in the face of danger. But when her mother arrived, they quickly rushed outside and called for an ambulance. Grateful for her quick thinking, Lily was proud of herself for rising to the occasion and saving her father's life. When Lily's mom got home, she saw her husband on the ground with soapy water and blood around him. She quickly called 911, her voice trembling with fear. She comforted her daughter, who was crying, and waited for the ambulance sirens. Relief came when they heard them in the distance, hoping it was not too late. Isabella noticed the fear in her daughter's eyes and comforted her with a warm embrace. She was grateful for Lily's quick thinking and bravery, which had saved John's life. The paramedics quickly assessed John's injuries and placed him on a stretcher before driving off to the hospital with Isabella and Lily close behind, their hearts heavy with worry. Lily's grip on her father's hand tightened as she heard the sirens coming closer. Fear and grief filled her heart, dreading the thought of a life without her superhero, best friend and confidant. She wished she had been more careful, cursing herself for the situation. Tears ran down her cheeks, praying the ambulance would arrive in time to save him. Lily tightly held her father's hand and whispered her love, hoping he could hear her. The ambulance soon arrived, and Lily watched as the paramedics took her father away. She hugged her mother, tears streaming, knowing their lives would change. She prayed her father would be all right. On their way to the hospital, Lily was filled with fear and anxiety for her father, who lay unconscious on a stretcher and hooked up to machines. The tense atmosphere in the car was indicative of their shared worry, yet Lily clung to the hope that her father would be all right. Lily's thoughts ran wild with worry for her father, and the fear of losing him was unbearable. Her mind raced with good memories and regrets and possibilities for the future, both good and bad. But her mother's presence gave her comfort, and they waited together in hope for good news. Lily and her mother rushed to the hospital, overwhelmed by fear and uncertainty. At the front desk, they were told John had been taken to the operating room for emergency surgery. All they could do was wait, surrounded by the sounds of beeping machines and hushed voices. Every passing moment felt like an eternity as they tried to stay positive, clinging to each other for support. No matter the outcome, their lives would never be the same. As the hours passed, the waiting room filled with concerned families. Despite the fear, Lily and her mother stayed strong, finding comfort in happy memories of John. After what seemed like an eternity, the surgeon emerged with a glimmer of hope in his eyes. He said John was out of immediate danger but still in critical condition. Lily's mother tried to comfort her, but every time the incident was brought up, Lily was overcome with emotion. To give her space to come to terms with the event, her mother respected her need for privacy. Lily sat in the waiting room, lost in thought as she tried to comprehend what had occurred. Fear, confusion, and sadness filled her mind as she thought of her father on the operating table. She pondered what would come next. Would her father be all right? Would life return to normal? The unknown was overwhelming, and despair began to set in. Isabella was filled with worry and fear as she waited with her daughter for news on John. Lily's bravery in the face of danger gave her the courage to stay strong, and when John came out alive, she was relieved. This was a reminder for her to never take safety for granted and cherish her loved ones always. As John woke, he was relieved to find himself in a hospital bed. His wife was by his side, relieved. Later, he found out what happened. Lily had spotted a poisonous snake near him and yelled to save them both. John hugged his daughter, grateful for her bravery and quick thinking. He realized how much he had underestimated her and vowed never to take their safety for granted again. John was filled with admiration and pride for his daughter after hearing her story. He was so thankful for her courage, which likely saved his life. After his recovery, John was able to leave the hospital and embraced her in a grateful hug. John and Lily's bond was forever changed after they shared an experience and went on adventures together. On Lily's graduation day, John was filled with pride, recognizing how strong, wise, and brave she had become. As they hugged, John told Lily she was his hero, to which she replied he was hers.